Okay, we are having a great lesson today. We are. Because I've been working a lot on these charts night and day and doing my work as a fry cook. You know, French fries, chicken fingers, mozzarella sticks, all that stuff. And you gotta be quick. So, let's look at these bars. Okay? So what we have is we can bar these guys. Well, alright, in the open string position where our root was, I put bar here, but really we're going to ignore the 7 and use the fingerboard bar, right? The finger nut. Okay. But we can bar that anywhere. Let's look at the other positions. Now, the problem is if we start playing chords in these other positions, are we going to lose sight of the build here? Now in this one I have just a pentatonic build. Notice it does say pentatonic, but in the next, is there another chart? Yes. In this chart here, and this is just the same thing, focusing on caged for cello. Remember, caged in cello, it's A flat, F, E flat, C, and B. That's strange. That'll become obvious later on, but once again with the guitar, because I'm down C tuned, when I play an E shape, it's an E shape C. Okay, so there it is, E shape C right there, and etc. Just take it from there. Now it says right over here, note, when a guitar is down tuned, the strings are C, F, B flat, E flat, the open strings, and C. This omits the A flat shape that we were looking at over here. Everything's a resize, right? It omits the A flat shape because of the tuning third. We don't do we have a tuning third which down tunes, so we get a G instead of an A flat, and that G just goes up to a C in guitar. So the bottom strings on the guitar are not C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, C again. They're C, F, B flat, E flat, G, because we have a tuning third here, G. This is out of tune too, but my tuning, my geared tuner here is a little, you know, kind of jumpy. You know, it's not smooth. It's rough. So I have to leave it in one position or loosen and bring it all the way back up. It'd be nice if I could get geared tuners for my cello, but it's holding tune. I guess it's the humidity. Something just keeps those pegs in place. So let's look at this. We've kind of jumped to this situation here where we want to discover cage. Let's look at this very important diagram here. Root, first and second inversions from the pattern. This is the pattern that we're looking at for cage, not for modal. Not for modal on cello. It's for caged on cello, which are double string shapes, linked double string shapes. Okay, so where are we at with the C? Well, C is root and the key is C, so right here we would be playing root. Would we be playing root? First inversion, here's root, root 3, 5. No, that's not root. If we want root 3, 5, it'd be root 3, 5 there. So this kind of thing isn't exactly accurate. Okay, so these aren't totally accurate, because if you look at with the cello root position of root 3, 5, what it's saying here is root position is root 5, 3. It sounds almost beautiful, right? And then first inversion, instead of 3, 5 root, is going to be 3 root 5. So it's going to be 3 root 5. Okay, sounds like an early morning, you know, Danube thing. So second, my apologies here, 5 root, 5 3 root. So instead of, it's, okay, that's what that is. So forgive me for putting that there. It's not completely exact. If we're doing arpeggios, it is, because we've got root 3 5. Okay, root 3 5 root 3 5. Okay, and then root. So how are we going to put together? What are we talking about with caged here? So we have the triads here. Okay, remember what caged is about. First of all, it's about, before we do caged on the guitar, okay, before we even do the different keys, we have to expand out, or it doesn't matter which one to do first, expand out C-A-G-E-D, or do C-A-G-E-D in 5 different keys of caged. The keys of caged here in the cello are going to be these guys. So let's, for gosh sakes, let's start on in the key of C. So we're going to be in the E shape there. So there's our E. Now it's getting a little hard to see here. I'll zoom in on it. Here's our E shape here. We're going to be in the key of C there. Okay, so we've got root 3 5 root. Now when we go into the word cage, we're going to go to A. Low C is the 5th of the F major chord. Now we're going to be in the key of F. If we start on the A G, which is right here, treating C as the 5th, okay, it's going to be 5 root. There's our F root, the white note right here. Can you see it? There's glare. There's glare, but glare is pretty. So it's right here, 5 root 3 5 root in F, 3 5 in F. 5 is 5 root 3. Okay, and then 5 root 3. Then we got 5 up here again. C is the 5th of F. And then we have root again. That's the only note on that string. And then 3 5. Easy. And then we have 5 3. A is the 3rd of F, then root, okay, it sounds like some sort of bugle call. So that's our C position. Now that was the F position rather, so that was the A position. Remember, the C position is just root 3 5 root 3 5. We're not playing the 6th. We're not playing a diatonic. We're not playing a diatonic. So now let's look at the 3rd position in cage, which is the GE position. The low C becomes the 6th of E flat. So we're going to be playing at E flat starting on that GE position. Where's GE? Right here. Here's the 6. I'm just gonna play the thing. Okay, that's our E flat. So we're going to be playing, but we're not going to, C is going to be the 6th, but we're not playing the 6th because we're not playing the 6th. It's root 3 5. So where's our root? Here in the GE right here. We're right here. Okay, so let's get the drawing tool. And this isn't for this.